Wow. Okay.
All right, Lawlers, it's a start of a new week. We're in patch 14.4 now, so we're going to take a look at the top 5 highest win rate mid lane champions you can play to gain some LP this week. All right, so first up here to get yourself to gold ELO the quickest is going to be Neefy. She's our best highest win rate champion in patch 14.4 this week. Very low pick rate, very low ban rate, which means it's probably not going to be contested too often. And the recommended rune page, I think, synergizes really well with her kit, which is probably why she has a really high win rate right now. First strike's really easy to proc with her Q spam, and then also the Eclipse is just a really good item for those attack damage champed assassins that want to jump in, deal a burst of damage, get a little bit of a shield there, and either get out or look for the execute if they're within lethal striking range. Summoner spells are Flash and Ignite, pretty standard there for AD assassins. There's a few matchups here that are around 45% win rate. I don't think you're going to face too many Aurelias, so either Malphite or Brand you want to ban out, or get your teammates to try and ban them out. I think that's actually a really tough matchup against Malphite. Brand, I think you can outplay it if you're a few games in on Fury and you understand some of your trade windows, so I would ban Malphite. Skill path hasn't changed here. Q max and then E and then W and a point in your R whenever you can. Starting items, get that Doran's Blade and then rush the Eclipse. Get those ability haste boots with the Lucidity, and then you're going to round that out with a Profane Hydra for some mid-game wave clear, side lane push power, and just general overall extra attack damage, lethality, and ability haste. So Neefy really strong right now in patch 14.4. Okay, next up, our buddy here, the Space Dragon, Aurelion Sol. He's also been strong for a few patches. He's been nerfed a couple times, I think, in recent patches, but can't be stopped. He's still S+ tier here, 53% win rate. Pick rate and ban rate are still kind of hovering at or below 5%, so still, I think, a really viable pick here for you to build an arsenal with in terms of adding him to your champ roster pretty safely without getting contested or banned out. Rune page here, Arcane Comet's the strongest on him with your Q poke, which is becoming a more and more common theme with ASOL players. You wouldn't really see this, I feel like, last season. People didn't understand just a quick Q tap pokes, but they're doing it now, so that's going to work really well with him. And then the Rylai's Crystal Scepter Rush, again, to slow people down and get more of that Stardust with your Q and E is really powerful. Make sure you pick up that Minion Dematerializer so you can shove waves a little bit faster and get that Stardust faster and safer with your E and Q. Summoner spells here, Flash and Teleport, just to get back to lane in some of the tougher matchups. You do scale, but you have some tough matchups early, especially if you're playing against high mobile champions. You can see that here in the tough matchups: Tristana, Cassidy, Diana, Fizz, Neefy, Katarina. These are all champions that have some type of a dash. Cassidy is surprising, I think, just because he probably outscales you, but the rest of the champions in this list here have dashes available to them in the first few levels. So Tristana, very rare. You're probably going to see her in most of your matchups, so I'd say maybe Fizz or Neefy is a better ban, just based on the more common champion matchups that you're going to face. Skill priority, again, hasn't changed here. Q max followed by E and W, and point in your R whenever you can. Starting items, you're going to get that ring, and then you're going to rush the Rylai's Crystal Scepter, Sork Shoes, and then get into that Liandry's as fast as you can. Fourth item option here, if you had a chance earlier in the game to buy a tier, you could go the Archangel Staff. If you didn't, then you were just trying to rush that Rylai's as fast as possible, you could go into Shadow Flame as a fourth item option there as well. Okay, third best champion you can play in terms of win rate to get to gold this week is going to be Brand. Again, another champion who's been on this list a few times and a few weeks in a row here. His ban rate is creeping up now. People are understanding he's pretty contested, pretty powerful. He's at almost 20% ban rate, so I'd assume Riot's going to nerf this guy at some point in the coming weeks or patches. He's just been sitting in a very strong place for a long time, and even in jungle you could play this guy and he's really strong. You could play him even in support and he's strong. So when a champ's this strong, Chris, across this many weeks and this many roles, you can pretty sure that a nerf is coming. But if you can get a few games in him and get some LP now, you can do that. It's going to be Arcane Comet mixed with that Liandry's Torment Rush. He's got a few tough matchups here. Vel'Koz, nobody plays, so I wouldn't worry about that. Talon, again, not really popular now, so I don't think you need to ban out Talon. If you wanted to use your ban on ASOL, Fizz, or Akshan, I think that's your best bans for this week. And then core items here, that Doran's Ring Pots, and then Leandry's Torment Rush with the Sork Shoes and Rylai's Crystalline Scepter. You can go either Malignance or Zhonya's Hourglass as your fourth item. I think it depends so much on the game that you're going to be in, though. You can see even Banshee's Veil is part of his most common highest win rate setup here. So if you need a Banshee's Veil fourth item, I think you could go that too. So after your 3 core here, just going to be spitting out so much damage that you're going to top the charts in any case. So just build 4th, 5th, 6th items, game dependent. Okay, up next here, this is a new one in our top 5 for this week. That's Karma. I think the R synergy with Malignance has finally become popular enough, and she's getting enough games. You can see here 62,000 matches already in patch 14.4 where people have realized it's broken. So the Arcane Comet with the Malignance and her R is just too powerful right now. Like, it's pretty brainless like lane phase, to be honest, where you're not going to be massively outplaying. Her kit doesn't have dashes and, you know, bursty damage, but what it does has is an R that if it hits you, it's just going to chunk you so hard. Like, I've played a couple games against Karma with Malignance. You could be playing the lane phase perfectly, hiding behind minions, jumping in your trade windows, damaging her, getting to half health, and you feel like, wow, I'm really outplaying this Karma. And then she sneaks a empowered R on you with Malignance and just half healths you. So it's like, it's too easy to get her damage out right now, which is why she's so powerful and has such a good win rate right now. So get that Arcane Comet, rush that Malignance. Your toughest matchups, A Soul, Jace, Annie, Diana. Just ban A Soul. Nobody's going to play Jace or really Annie into you, in my experience. And then skill priority, you're going to pick up Q max first, and then E, W, and R last. Starting items, pretty standard again for mages here. The big thing is you need to rush that Malignance, and then the Boots of Lucidity so that you can spam that R as much as possible. Or sorry, R is the empowered Q is what I mean here. And then Cosmic Drive, again, for more ability haste, a little bit of move speed, but really here it's the ability power, the health, and Spell Dance. So really, really good core for her that's working well. And then last on our list, Swain. Again, a champion that's been on this list a couple times now, still performing well in the mid lane. He's running Airy and Malignance as well for that synergy with his R. So anybody that can run Malignance right now with their R is in a pretty good spot. So Swain's going to make this list, of course. Again, keynote here in the summoner spells is Flash and Ghost. So you want to make sure that you're picking up Ghost so that you can be a little bit more active and fast and sticky with your R activated. Ban out Brand. I know Cassiopeia, Victor, Annie are all pretty tough matchups here, but your likelihood of running into those champions is quite low compared to Brand. So just ban out Brand. That's pretty tough to say, actually. And then again, starting items here, Doran's Ring Pots, rush Malignance, get those Sork Shoes, and then pick up a Rylai's Crystal Scepter. After that, I think it's pretty game dependent. If you need a little bit of extra durability and you want to survive some bursts, you can get Zhonya's and you can sit in it in your ult and just kind of tick people away while you heal up. Or if you feel like you're pretty powerful, you're pretty far ahead, no one can really kill you anyway, and you just want to dish out more damage, there's always the Leandry's Torment as your fourth item. So that's going to do it for this week, guys. Hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you next week for our updated top 5 list.